Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Greg Eckhart and I'm Senior Analyst for the Operations Branch of the San Antonio Water System. I'm also the unofficial SAWS historian. We are on the banks of the beautiful Riverwalk in downtown San Antonio, and today we are going to be touring our historic Market Street pump station. I want to tell you about some of the history of this site and show you how we get water from the Edwards Aquifer and deliver it to your home and our community. This little pump station is an American water landmark and one of the most historic sites in San Antonio. And we're pretty excited because we're actually hanging the plaque today for the historic designation. It was here in 1891 that George Brackenridge discovered it was possible to get a very large free-flowing artesian well from the Edwards Aquifer. In June of that year, residents were stunned when a geyser of water appeared here that blew out rocks as big as a man's head. This was the discovery that transformed San Antonio from a dusty frontier town into a booming metropolis. This site very quickly became the main location for supplying the city with water. There have been several versions of the pump station here over more than 130 years, and it is still an important pumping station for our city today. Getting water for our community starts with wells like this. There have been many wells here over the years, and today there are 3. This location, the Edwards Aquifer, is about 780 feet below the land surface. And one of the amazing things about the Edwards is the water is under natural artesian pressure that forces water upwards. So flowing wells and fountain springs occur when there's enough pressure to force water all the way to the land surface. For one of our wells here, we don't even have a pump. The water is always delivered to us from the Edwards Aquifer under natural pressure. We just open this valve here and the water comes up from the Edwards Aquifer under natural artesian pressure. The other 2 wells here do have pumps that we can use when there's not enough pressure for artesian flow. The 3 wells here can produce about 43 million gallons per day. Another amazing thing about the Edwards Aquifer is the water does not require the conventional treatment that almost all other water sources need. The Edwards is a living system that purifies water for us, but bacteria can be produced by the creatures that live down there. So the only treatment we do for this water is addition of chlorine gas to kill bacteria. Now, chlorine is a very dangerous chemical, and we don't want to store large amounts of it in a place like this with so many people around. So what we do instead is we make chlorine on site here, and just enough of it at a time for the water being produced at that moment. What we do is we store a tank full of harmless salt water. When you mix electricity with a small stream of this water, you generate a chemical called sodium hypochlorite, and we mix that with the water to kill bacteria. And then the water goes to this storage tank. This tank can hold 830,000 gallons of our wonderful drinking water, and we call this a ground storage tank because it's on the ground. So we move this water to an elevated storage tank like this, and from there we use gravity to send the water to you. To move water all the way up to those elevated storage tanks, we use very large pumps that are inside the building here. These 4 pumps have been here since 1959. They're powered by electricity, and they replaced steam-powered pumps that had been used here since the early 1900s. So yes, these pumps are old, but if you have a good maintenance plan in place, they can last a very long time. Each one of these pumps can move 13.8 million gallons of water per day. And this building has a basement that I want to tell you about in a minute because it's part of the very interesting history of this site. And this is a very historic site for San Antonio. The city's first social club, the Casino Club, was located here in 1857, and many famous people signed the guest book. Right next door was one of the nation's earliest Carnegie libraries. In 1967, the courtyard in front of the pump station was re-landscaped to be a portal to the Riverwalk during Hemisphere 68. SAWS and the Briscoe Museum also partnered to commission this beautiful art tile mural called Water Through Time. It starts with Spanish colonial times with acequia systems and transitions to a modern day city. But this mural is about the way that water has always connected people here across cultures and through time. The Briscoe added the Jack Ginther Pavilion, and as we come to the end of our tour today, I'm outside the pavilion to tell you one final story that has to do with the basement I mentioned. In 1941, after the bombing of Pearl Harbor, the U.S. military needed all the steel and supplies they could get to make repairs. As we always do, San Antonio stepped up and sent some sections of 48-inch steel pipe that were used to supply the troops with water for the rest of the war. When the war was over, those pipes were brought here and installed in a tunnel that went from the basement of the pump station to a wellhead that was about 40 feet underground. When the pavilion was built, the well was plugged and the pipes were filled with concrete. But yes, those pipes that helped the country win World War II are still down there. In this part of San Antonio, history is buried everywhere right underneath our feet. So there you have it, a tour of our historic Market Street pump station. Maybe you've walked past this site or even sailed by on a river cruise. Now when you come here with your out-of-town guest, you'll have your own story to tell about how this pump station helped transform San Antonio from a dusty frontier town into the 7th largest city in the country, all with the help of water. See you next time.